The fact that a creator or an influencer can come on TikTok and say, look, this entire time of you following me, I have been lying to you, and we are just supposed to all be okay with that, is mind-blowing to me. TikTok was banned last week, and in less than 24 hours, it already was back up, which, by the way, shortest ban ever. I don't even know what the point of that ban was. The reason there was a ban or a discussion of a ban in the first place was because Trump started this. He started all of this, and the fact that he is now being considered as the savior is just mind-blowing to me. But that is not the only thing that is mind-blowing to me. I digress. Going back to the ban on TikTok and just the uproar that it caused amongst creators and business owners and everyone in between, people and creators saw that as an opportunity to come on the platform to reveal their secrets, since TikTok is going to be going away anyway. First of all, if you thought that was the best opportunity for you to talk about your deepest, darkest secrets, what is going on? Whether there is a TikTok or not, you are still a living, breathing human being on this earth, and there are a million other platforms that people can find you on. Now, did I find some of them actually funny? 100%. But creators who came on the platform talking about, I never went to the gym, I never drank those coffee you saw me making, even though my entire account is about making coffee and drinking them. And people going as far as talking about how they never had the life that they had. There was this woman who built her entire brand around being a vegan and sleeping in her car and walking barefoot around the country because there was some spiritual awakening behind it. And then she comes around and says that never happened. She was never sleeping in her car because it was some sort of spiritual awakening. It was because she didn't have a place to stay.
Living in my car, staying up until 2 a.m., sleeping in a tent was real. But the reason that I said that I was doing it was fake. But on social media, I would say that it was my choice and I was following my baby's intuition.
She even went as far as saying babies are allowed to choose their own names, and that is supposed to be some sort of spiritual journey for them. And then comes around just before the ban and says, oh, if only you knew how many times I was dying laughing making these videos. And then I would have like 100 takes before actually giving you the one I thought was the most believable.
I had another piece of content really similar to that, where I had a thought occur in my head that if my kids ever grew up and said that they didn't like the names that I gave them at birth and wanted to change them, I would call them by whatever name they wanted. But then I thought, how can I make this into a sensational video? So then I started recording and said, babies should be allowed to choose their own names. I would have to film these videos about 20 times until I got a take where I wasn't cracking up the entire time.
It just is so sad to see people play on people's emotions like that. First of all, I think it's very disrespectful. I think it's selfish and it's rude to think you get to play with people's emotions and spiritual journeys like that. I think it's unfair to lie to your audience in that way. And we all know not to believe everything you see on social media, but when people deliberately go the extra mile to manipulate others and manipulate their audience in order to get some sort of a reaction out of them, that's where we need to start to draw the line. Her excuse was she did it because she wanted to buy a house and all these other things. Typical. People really started to out themselves, even creators who would do mukbangs coming out to say, well, I never ate all of those food. I mean, we all kind of knew it was fake, but to hear them blatantly own up to it and just be so passive about it, I guess it's what really just bothers me about all of this. The inability to take full accountability and just be like, yeah, I lied, you know, it's whatever, deal with it. No, you deal with it. The last thing you want to be here doing is lying to your audience. And as much as all of this is mind-blowing to me, it also makes you realize how us as consumers can do a better job with how we consume content. The types of content we choose to reward as viewers is so telling as to why creators would go all of these miles to prove a point and boost their career. The girl who had the spiritual journey and was walking barefoot talks about how she initially started sharing her videos as an authentic experience, but when she noticed people's reaction to it and how they interacted with her videos, she started to overdo it because it got a reaction out of people. And even though that's not the reality of her life anymore, she just never stopped doing it because it always got a reaction out of people.
The content I posted before I started going viral was pretty real, and then the content after I started going viral in the very beginning was mostly trolling. I wear shoes about 20% of the time now. I used to wear them not at all because of the social media. and I would make a lot of content about how shoes are bad for people. I go barefoot in my backyard a lot. However, going barefoot in places like Costco was trolling.
Stop giving your time to creators who are clearly going the extra mile regardless of what it takes to trigger a response out of you. If a creator is deliberately acting out of line to get a reaction out of you, scroll past their ass. Because why do you have 500 different burgers on the table from 500 different restaurants on a video? I'm not gonna sit there and watch you stuff your face full with 500 different burgers. That is simply not true. You clearly are doing that for the views. Scroll past. Don't watch it. Don't engage, don't comment, don't like it. This is why they're lying, because they're being rewarded for their bad behaviors and they're being rewarded for the lies. And that's why they can come in here and say, well, I lied, and so what? What are you gonna do about it? Scroll past their videos. Don't engage. The reason they have a platform is because you and I gave them one. Scroll past their videos. Why do you have 10 pumps of foundation on your skin? You're clearly not using all of those. You're wasting them. She even came out during the TikTok ban and said, yeah, I clean up some of those foundation. Why are you lying? Scroll past their videos. Don't even as much as comment saying this is such a disgusting video, because that is triggering the algorithm to keep pushing the video. They know that they're gonna get bad comments, good comments in between, and every single comment, every view, good or bad, contributes to that video being pushed even further. Scroll past. If you are following an engineer or a nurse, stop expecting them to give you a bust down transition every time they show up on your feed. The fact that us as viewers set these unrealistic expectations is why creators will go any length to get that reaction out of us. If there was one nurse who was sitting and teaching about first aid and another nurse who was dancing on TikTok teaching about first aid, the chances of the nurse who was dancing getting the reaction faster than the one who was just sitting teaching is so much higher, because we choose to reward that over the person who was just doing what they need to be doing in the first place. These unrealistic standards is why we're getting these types of creators who would not mind lying to you just to get a response out of you. If you are a nurse, you don't have any business dancing in front of the camera. Go save some lives. Teach us about first aid. Teach us about, CPR or something. You have no business dancing on TikTok. Business owners and entrepreneurs shouldn't have to be on our screen pointing on different parts of the screen and pulling all types of stunt just to get a customer to buy from them. But we reward that behavior though. It's that entrepreneur who is dancing on screen and doing all types of stunt that we think is more entertaining and worth our engagement. I even saw this woman whose daughter passed, God rest her soul, and she thought the best way to talk about her daughter's passing was to be on screen dancing tirelessly to talk about her child's passing. First of all, I hate that I'm even talking about this, but the fact that this is even up for a debate is because she has opened that room for such conversations to be had now. Why are you dancing to You Got Me Trippin' to talk about your daughter's passing and the questions that you've gotten since she passed? Her entire brand is about her daughter's passing. She addresses herself as the dancing mourning mother or something. She shares at least 3 to 4 videos every week talking about it, which people grieve differently, and you should never police how a person chooses to grieve the passing of their loved one or the loss of a person that they care about or whatever the case is. But maybe let's not be dancing to a trending audio on Instagram talking about it, or pointing across the screen and dancing while answering questions that people are supposedly asking you about it and making that your entire brand. In my experience in the industry, I have had the opportunity of having multiple conversations with men and women who have suffered a similar experience of losing a loved one or losing a child or whatever the case is. And I had the opportunity of speaking to this woman one time who built her brand still around grieving. But what she has done so beautifully is create a community for people who are grieving and letting them know that she's been there. She has firsthand experience of what it means to lose a child. And now she's created a space where these other people can come and see versions of themselves in her and see her as representation for them. She's been at the forefront of multiple debates. She has led multiple donations. And what she has done is created a beautiful community out of what was the most traumatic experience of her life and turned her pain into purpose. But the girl who was dancing on Instagram and on TikTok and pointing on screen talking about the questions she's getting for the past 2 years now is the one who was getting 1 million views, 10 million views, thousands of comments, people talking about her first because they don't really, I'm talking about her now because I'm not really as excited about what she's doing. She's the one who's been able to get a buzz out of her situation. There's not a lot of people talking about this other lady who has an entire community behind her. This one who has branded herself as the dancing morning mom is getting millions and millions and millions of views. That is the type of environment that we create for these creators as consumers. So if you're watching this, I need this to serve as your reminder to please stop rewarding bad behavior. If you see such content, scroll past it. If a creator is clearly going out of their way to get a reaction out of you, please do not reward them or satisfy them by in fact giving them a reaction. Not even if that reaction is a comment to let them know how distasteful their action was. Just simply scroll, because even that bad comment, that extra watch, is engagement to them and it promotes that content further. Instagram is not real life. TikTok is not real life. YouTube, social media is simply just not real. And if you are a creator watching this or a business owner watching this thinking, oh, well, I'll start when I have a better camera, or I'll start when I have a more aesthetic looking office or a more aesthetic looking home. For all you know, that home doesn't even exist. That office probably doesn't, it's probably not even real. I mean, we all kind of already know this, but if you are a creator watching this and waiting until you have it all figured out because you seem to think everyone else seems to have it figured out, it just is not true. It doesn't exist. No one has it figured out. Nothing is what it looks like, and please just start. Your community is waiting for you. Your people are waiting for you. And as a creator, please do not lie to your audience. Just don't. Just don't do it. You're gonna burn out. Your audience is going to know eventually. They're going to burn out, and when they find the original of the copy of what you're trying to create, they're gonna go to the original. Let your audience connect with you exactly where you're at right now and build a community around yourself that feels like home, that feels like comfort to your audience. Be the comfort creator in your community and be the comfort creator in your industry. That is how you build a loyal community that is able to stand the test of time. I am just so out of breath because of this. I was so heated. I don't know, I just hate it. I hate to see it. I hate to, and the way we just are so comfortable and just letting everyone just, you know, it's another day, moving on. You lied. Ugh.